welcome to our water mill. When my wife and I bought the mill in December last year, we knew there was going to be several major steps to restore the mill into our family home. In this video, we're tackling one of the bigger ones, removing the remains of the rusty cast iron grain drying floor in the kiln. Making this more challenging is the fact the drying floor is covered with almost a metre, about half a fathom for those of you who are metrically impaired, of bird guano. The kiln's roof is in very poor condition. A number of birds live in the kiln and have done so for more than half a century. The roof is beyond repair, and to replace it safely, by myself, without a team of joiners, means I probably want scaffolding both inside and outside the kiln. With everything in the kiln, this isn't possible. We're hoping to start work on the roof in under a month, so clearing the drying floor is a critical milestone. Previously, we cleared out the ground floor of the kiln, dug out the built-up guano, and moved it to the backyard. We hosed all the leached salts off the walls, making it a lot cleaner feeling and smelling on the ground level. Now we need to tackle the source of those salts and drop the drying floor. This video is the combination of months of thinking about how we could remove the drying floor safely. It's dangerous and high risk removing the unstable, rusted structure with no safe access from above or below. There isn't exactly a website or book with instructions on how to remove something like this without large cranes. Never mind both the roof above and the floor below being unsafe.
Initially, I cut the support beam for the front floor section out with a reciprocating saw and angle grinder. This left the lesser supports cantilevered off the wall. Shaking them with a section of lumber made some great initial progress. To get the beams further away, we used a 5-ton ratchet strap. The hook on the end was perfect for grabbing the beams, and we could make great progress by just rocking the beam with the strap.
Before we continue with the floor, I'd like to thank the person who bought us the book on building bookcases and cabinets from our Amazon wishlist. We're still a long way from being able to use it, but it's already giving us ideas and inspiration for building out the house. We're getting very close to taking off the existing roof and putting a new one on. So if you have any suggestions for must-have tools that might make our life a little easier, please leave a comment below. In case you haven't noticed, we're also trying to do a live stream every Saturday afternoon to work on some of the internal projects. We'd love it if you could drop by, even just for a few minutes to say hi. It's also a great way to ask us any questions you may have about the mill or our conversion of it.
Once we had done all we could from inside the mill through the kiln opening, we set up our first section of scaffolding on the end of the mill. This allowed access to the top window. I tried hooking a strap over the floor and tried to lift or jiggle the beam, even with the ratchet mechanism, but it didn't budge. I cleared a section of the guano and smashed through the floor. Then I put a grappling hook over the beam and used a scaffolding winch to pull on it. This, again, did nothing but break the grappling hook. The winch mount wasn't fantastic, so to improve safety and usability, I built a simple frame to hold the winch against the window. With the winch in its new mount, I looped an 800 kilo rated rope around the floor beam. The winch is rated for 800 kilos of load when using the pulley, and the winch won. Clearly, the mass of bird crap on top of the floor exceeded what the winch was capable of dealing with. Using a piece of lumber while sitting in the window, I started pushing the guano off the floor and smashing through the cast iron. The wall is only about 600mm, or about 3 links for the metrically challenged, at that height, but it's still a good enough spot to sit relatively safely. I also picked up some proper straps when we went to the main island for groceries. These 20 kN straps are a lot easier to attach to the winch. just the beams, the winch was much more capable of assisting with the floor removal. The winch quickly got us back to the point of needing to clear more floor to expose more beams to loop with the winch strap. I think this last beam in the corner really highlights how dangerous the floor was. It breaks in two before it comes down. The iron is very brittle and heavily rusted. The back corner of the mill still had an inaccessible section of floor. We set up a new scaffold behind the kiln as a way to get access to the top back window. I added a rake to my arsenal of tools for clearing the floors, figuring it might be better to hammer and pull rather than just poke. The floor in the corner is a bit further away from the window and a lot more awkward to reach out to. With as much of the floor as I could reach removed, I tried my ratchet strap trick. I wasn't making any progress, so I thought perhaps if I can remove the main support beam, it might be easier. I had ordered some pretty hefty straps after the difficulty with the rope earlier. I also picked up a big 60 kilonewton off-road winch and a truck battery to run it from. The scaffolding winch just wasn't powerful enough for the tasks we have in the kiln. The big strap was way too long. I kinda messed up when figuring out the length I'd need. I wrapped it around the beam a bunch of times to get it to the length I could still winch it. The strap was still too long. I had to wrap it up even more. The winch was really bogging down, but I got the beam out of the wall. The remaining beams were very easy to remove using the same method as the front wall.
The drying floor is now completely down, with just one support beam waiting to be removed in the future. Sorry this video took so long to get out. We've been working very hard on the kiln to the point I injured my back. In the next video, we're working on the concrete and everything we've just dropped into the kiln. We're making great progress and it's fantastic to have you along on the journey with us. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the next live stream or video.